Hi y'all, welcome back to another Christmas unboxing video. Today we're in the 1940s, one of my favorite eras to research and interpret and tell you guys about. There's a lot of changes that always come around when there's a big war, and World War II is no different in that. It has a huge impact on the Christmas celebration and the Christmas season. I have kind of harkened back to the era with my closing for the video, but as last time we went through the 1950s box, today we're going to go through the 1940s box and keep working our way back as long as you guys are enjoying these. So as we go throughout this Christmas box, it'll be a little bit different because the war impacts so much, even down to the box that we have for this unboxing. Even the box has a little reminder for you to buy victory stamps on it. So every aspect of life was impacted by World War II. And of course, with the rationing and shortages and issues that were going on across the world, the American experience during Christmas would be vastly different to other countries. Cities in England were being bombed, of course, and cities across Europe were in ruins. So we're not going to be too holly jolly and Christmas merriment for the 1940s. But there's a lot of cool things that come out of the 40s, or a lot of 40s specific items that are really interesting about Christmas. I think the thing that is the biggest and would be the hardest thing to explain to our modern generation or our younger kids is that Santa Claus joins the war effort. He trades in his red and white most of the time for army drab. And they really encourage you to buy those war bonds, stamps, and savings, keep your savings in the government bonds and give them to your kids. There's some great old commercials. My favorite has Betty Davis in it, and her kids are hoping for a bicycle or something cool, and she sets them down and says, you're not getting a bicycle or toys, you're going to get saving stamps and bonds, which would look something like this. So your stocking stuffers for World War II would include savings bonds, which of course went right back into funding the war, which hopefully brought home your brother or your dad or whoever was serving, so it had a bigger purpose. But I think it would be really hard in 2020 to convince people to invest in government bonds and have kids excited about receiving those on Christmas morning. Another big thing that was really different during World War II is, this is blown up so you guys can see it. They're usually about this big. V-mail. So Christmas cards take on a different turn during the war. V-mail becomes popular. Now what you would do is you would fill these out. The Kodak Camera Corporation was usually the one that was doing this, and they would scan them all and put them on to film because they could ship hundreds and hundreds of letters on a little strip of film, and then they would be developed overseas, or vice versa. You could send them back and forth. But they usually came in like a little telegraph envelope, and you can see he's yelling across the ocean from an island that says home, and it says Merry Christmas. So the real ones are real small, and I tried to do this and show you guys, and it wouldn't show up. So I blew this one up a little bit. But this would have been a way of sending a Christmas card to or from a soldier overseas. You could, there are also ones that are blank where you fill them out in a letter, and they're really hard to read because they got shrunk down and then blown back up and then shrunk down again. So these are really cool. If you ever find those, they're fun things to collect. Strung Christmas lights and large bulbs were very popular in the early 1940s, but they are almost impossible to get once the war has gone on from 41 to 45. That the metal in them is rationed, the glass in them is rationed, the rubber coating that's on them is rationed. So if you had these from before the war, you cherish them because you could not hardly find them during the war, or you would have to really, they were very expensive, or you'd have to use some of your ration stamps for quality goods like this. And really, if you were paying to have Christmas lights on your Christmas tree, you were taking that metal and that rubber and that glass away from the fighting soldiers, and it was really viewed as being not patriotic, and you're kind of a jerk, and nobody really liked your Christmas tree anyway. So Christmas lights kind of become a different meaning during the war. Now, my favorite aspect of World War II Christmas is we're all used to the Shiny Bright company, the shiny balls like we see on the Christmas tree behind me. But what happens during World War II is that the metal for the shiny of the Shiny Bright is rationed. So they become clear glass. There's no foil on the inside. They're just colored glass. There's many different forms of these, but you can see straight through that. There's no shiny foil on it like maybe you would think of when you see this kind that has that foil behind. They are foilless because that little bit of metal that was in your Christmas decoration was too valuable to those soldiers to waste on your Christmas tree. So Shiny Brights become a little less bright during the war, and those are also super hard to find and super collectible. Homemade Christmas decorations, homemade Christmas candles like these are popular. These are a little bit more modern that actually a family member of mine made. You can put empty canned goods up in them and they make really cute little candles. Electric items made of paper became very popular because they were easier to produce, and on a large scale they didn't use much paper, which paper was also rationed during the war. But you also start seeing bakelite and plastic becoming much more prevalent in Christmas decorations because they're trying to replace that metal or paper aspect of the decorations, and the plastic was not rationed. It was just very hard to make and very expensive. Another item that you start to see a lot of during the war is chenille, like the bedspreads. This wreath is actually made from chenille, and it's in its original box, which is kind of cool. So you see a lot of chenille decorations, and the chenille decorations date back to the teens and 20s, really. But because of the shortages, things get a little plain and things become a little harder to find. And like I said, you really weren't investing in a lot of Christmas stuff because you should have been investing in those war bonds. So that's no good if you're not. Santa goes to war. A lot of decorations you see has Army or Air Force or Navy decorations or motifs. He's flying a bomber. It's got the star on the front, and he is diving down to deliver your presents. But most likely visiting those soldiers overseas because you should have been giving your kids victory bonds. So that's just another aspect of Christmas holiday season. Some more examples of plastic Christmas decorations that became popular during the war because of the shortages. These are super duper thin plastic, but they just hang on the tree just like a regular ornament. But the plastic introduction is really something that comes out in the 1940s Christmas because of those metal shortages. You also see tinfoil items. These are actually reflectors that go onto these kind of Christmas lights. You unscrew the bulb and it goes on and reflects that light out, so you get more bang for your buck with just one strand of lights. And these are also really reflective on the tree and kind of take up some of that lack of decorations that you might have had. Of course, a lot of emphasis was put on supporting the war, but a lot of emphasis was put on keeping the kids happy at home too. They didn't really know what was going on. There's some great images out there, especially of London during the Blitz or after the Blitz, when people were decorating their Anderson shelters with Christmas decorations. And throughout its history, Christmas has always been that time to pause and remember and be thankful for what we have, and gives everyone something a little bit positive to look forward to. So 2020 has been a terrible year, hard on a lot of people, and I hope this Christmas season can help us turn the tide and be a little bit more jolly and happy with each other, and hope for a better 2021. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Again, these are just real glancing the surfaces of Christmas history just for fun. And if you would like to see more videos like this, I'll keep doing them. Again, stay safe, happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and I'll see you guys next time.